What's going on, everybody? I'm Primalliquid and welcome to my guide for Atelier Ryza 2. In this video I'm going to be showing you guys above and beyond the best late game gem farming spot there is. Now this spot is just miles and miles and miles ahead compared to the earlier and mid game spot, but is still absolutely trounced by the end game method of gem farming. Granted though, you won't be able to do the end game method for quite a while when compared to this spot. So let's get into it, shall we? Now, in order to actually do this method properly, you are going to need something first, and that is going to be the silent sickle. Now, the effects themselves are not really that important, but they do come in very handy. The more you have, the more gems you are going to gain, basically. Now, one of the most important things to focus on, first of all, is getting at least expert cutting. And the reason for that is it basically allows you to gather all 3 ranks of items. Now, masterful cutting, it allows you to gather all 3 ranks as well. They're just a little higher quality. Quality doesn't matter in terms of gem farming, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Expert cutting, though, is pretty much mandatory for this method. Otherwise, you're going to be losing quite a lot of gems. As for the gathering up, obviously this is really self-explanatory. The higher tier this is, the more items you're going to get, which in turn means the more gems you are going to get. Now, not only is this method good for gems though, it's actually really good for traits. And the reason for that is we're going to be going to the Valley of Winds and the glass flower forest in that area. The reason I say this is good for traits is for one simple reason. This is the first area in the game where endgame traits actually start spawning. So things like attack charge ++, skill charge ++, and things like that. Now, what we're basically going to be doing is we're going to be sprinting straight to a very specific area. If you want to though, you can actually use your sickle on this little glass flower right here. But, you know, I mean, that's entirely up to you. You can either get it or ignore it. What we're going to be doing, though, is actually beelining straight up over this bridge here, up to the left, and we're just going to crawl through a small hole in the side here. And the reason for this is there is a ton of those little glass flower sections that we just actually used our sickle on. And now we're basically going to be running around gathering all of these little glass flowers, building up a rather large stock of items. And unfortunately that pony does not want to move, so we'll just go ahead and very quickly murder it so we can actually get the flower. Obviously, you know, you don't have to do the fights if you don't want to. I'm doing it just so I can completely clear out the flowers. One thing I will say, though, is the pony boss in the middle, that is actually pretty good for traits if you actually want to fight that. So while doing this method for gems, if you're still in the, if you're still hunting for some traits, I would say feel free to fight the pony. It's really not that difficult of a boss fight, especially if you are even remotely on top of your gear. Anyway, once you've completely gathered all of the ice flowers here, all you're simply going to do is go to the map and basically reload the glass flower forest. You don't have to go back to the atelier or anything like that. All you simply have to do is reload the arena, and as you can see from the glass flower right there, it will respawn all of the individual gathered nodes. So then it's just basically a case of running through, going through the little crevice here and regathering the flowers. Doing this will build up a massive stock of the fragiles and the rose crystals very quickly. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, you know, you can get a bunch of traits from them, but the main reason for this is actually just going to be gems, basically. So now that we've done 2 very quick trips there, let's go ahead and go back to the atelier and reduce them all into gems, because as you can see, there is quite a lot. Okay, gem reduction, and let's see. So obviously the rose crystals are worth 875, the fragiles are worth 603, but as you can see, we are getting some decent traits on them as well. So let's just go ahead and reduce all of these. Well, when it actually lets me reduce them all anyway, there we go. So, as you can see, I mean, obviously I was explaining the method, so it was a little bit slower than, you know, what you could do this as, just focusing on the run. But as you can see there, 2 very quick trips, and I got 74,000 gems just like that. With this method, you could probably gain somewhere in the region of about 500,000 gems in about 10 minutes. You know, 10 to 15 minutes would give you about 500,000 gems, roughly, give or take. Obviously, there are a few things that would be affected by that as well, you know. For example, what level your sickle is, what items you have, you know, like, are you actually getting the Gathering Up XXL, along with the Spirit Beast whistle, you know, if you got the XL Spirit Beast for the maximum movement speed and things like that. These are all going to be things that will play into your gems, like, per hour and that. But all in all, this is above and beyond the best late game gem farming spot. The only thing that will actually beat this is going to be the end game method, which involves basically just you know, reducing ancient philosopher stones and things like that. Anyway though, everybody, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope it's helped. If it has, then please be sure to hit that like button and leave a comment down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, then make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. As always though, everybody, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.